Hey, welcome to This Explainer. I'm absolutely thrilled you're tuning in today. We are tackling a topic that really sits at the very bedrock of every single successful business venture: choosing your legal entity. Now, as a guy who loves seeing a solid foundation built, I totally get that navigating this alphabet soup of business structures, LLCs, C Corps, S Corps, it can feel pretty intimidating. But honestly, it doesn't have to be. For the next few minutes, just think of me as your personal business mentor. We're going to decode these structures together and translate all those dense legal concepts into the practical, actionable knowledge you need to actually build and protect your empire. Look, I want to start by asking you a highly personal, maybe slightly uncomfortable question. If your business faces a massive lawsuit tomorrow, how do you guarantee that your family's assets, your house, your personal savings, the kids' college fund aren't on the chopping block? Man, it is a heavy thought, right? But it's literally the most critical question any entrepreneur has got to answer before they ever open their doors. Think about the massive landscape of U.S. businesses out there, from heavy construction and manufacturing to local tech startups and hospitality. There are millions of businesses operating right now, and every single one of those founders had to look that exact liability question right in the eye. They had to figure out a structure that perfectly balanced their daily operational needs with their own personal risk tolerance. So, here's our game plan for today. We're going to cover the business setup dilemma, going solo with sole proprietorships, partnering up, the sweet spot of LLCs, leveling up to corporations, and finally, how to choose your ultimate legal shield. All right, let's kick things off with Section 1, the business setup dilemma. This right here is the initial fork in the road you face the second you decide to turn your big idea into reality. The structure you pick right now, that's the foundation of your empire. It's not just some random box you check on a tax form. It is a legally binding framework that dictates your personal vulnerability, how heavy your tax bills are going to be, and ultimately, who holds the reins. You choose right, and you build a fortress. Choose wrong, you're leaving the front gates wide open. Moving right along to Section 2. Going solo, sole proprietorships. Okay, so a sole proprietorship is hands down the simplest, easiest way to do business. You can get this going with practically zero cost. There are no annoying, ongoing administrative filings or crazy formal requirements. But man, there is a massive catch you've got to understand. Under the law, you and the business are the exact same person. There is no separate legal entity. You are the business. And that brings us to our first villain. If things go sideways and a legal claim is filed against a sole proprietor, it bypasses the company entirely and makes a beeline straight for your personal bank account. You have absolutely zero cover. Now contrast that with the corporate veil. That's a legal shield that actually separates your personal assets from the business's liabilities. It catches the legal claim before it ever reaches you. As a sole proprietor, you just don't have that shield. Okay, let's pivot to Section 3, partnering up, the basics. When you bring someone else on board for the ride, you generally have two roles to consider, and they are wildly different. General partners are the ones steering the ship. They make the big management decisions, but they carry that terrifying unlimited personal liability we just talked about. Any one partner can be completely on the hook for the entire debt of the business. On the flip side, limited partners act more like shielded investors. They don't mess with the day-to-day operations, and their liability is strictly capped at what they invested. If the ship sinks, they only lose what they put in the cargo hold. Which brings us to Section 4, the sweet spot, LLCs. Honestly, the LLC is kind of the modern business hero. It's a newer concept that really took off because it cherry-picks the absolute best parts of partnerships and corporations. It acts as its own completely separate legal person, which gives you that beautiful corporate veil to shield your personal assets. You could have an unlimited number of owners and, maybe the best part, flexible tax options. You can choose flow-through taxation like a partnership, or you can elect to be taxed like a full-blown corporation. You literally get to choose your tax destiny. Ready for the big leagues? Section 5, leveling up to corporations. Talk about staying power. Corporations have this incredible feature the law calls perpetual existence. They exist completely independent of their human founders. Take the construction company Kongo Gumi over in Japan. They've been operating since the year 578 AD. We're talking over 1,400 years. That is the sheer power of a separate legal entity outliving generations of owners. Crazy, right? So how do they actually pull off that kind of longevity? It all comes down to a really strict, centralized management structure. In a corporation, ownership is totally separated from daily operations. You've got the shareholders who own the company and put up the capital. They elect a board of directors who make the big, high-level policy calls. And then the board hires the officers, the CEO, the president, to handle the day-to-day grind. Because of this separation, any single person can retire, move on, or pass away, and the corporate machine just keeps on running. But hey, heavy machinery comes with a major catch. And here is our second villain, double taxation. Let's just do the math for a traditional C Corp. Say your company makes $100 in profit. First, the corporation gets taxed on that profit. Let's say $20 goes to Uncle Sam, leaving 80. Then, when that $80 is distributed to you as a dividend, you get taxed again on your personal return, taking maybe another $24. Suddenly, you're left with just $56. Ouch. So, how in the world do we beat that double tax hit but keep our armor? The ultimate legal workaround is the S Corporation. From a pure legal setup perspective, C Corps and S Corps are identical. The magic is all in a special tax election you file with the IRS. By electing S Corp status, you keep the corporate liability shield 100% intact, but the profits flow directly through to your personal tax return, just like an LLC. The corporation itself pays zero federal income tax. Boom, double hit avoided. But tread carefully here, guys. The IRS doesn't just hand out this tax hack to anyone. It comes with some incredibly strict rules. To be an S Corp, it has to be a domestic U.S. corporation. You are hard capped at a maximum of 100 shareholders. Those shareholders must be real, breathing individuals, no other corporations or partnerships allowed, and you can only issue one single class of stock. So if your master plan is to build a massive, publicly traded tech giant with complex investment tiers, the S Corp route is definitely not for you. Now listen up, because this is absolutely crucial. Your legal shield is only as strong as your corporate discipline. In the legal world, it's called piercing the corporate veil. If you treat your LLC or your corporation like a total sham, if you don't observe the formalities, or worse, you treat your corporate bank account like a personal piggy bank to buy groceries or fund a Vegas trip, a judge will shatter your liability shield into a million pieces. They will pierce that veil and hold you personally liable for everything. You have to respect the entity or you will lose the protection.
All right, let's bring it all home in Section 6, choosing your legal shield.
Consider this your ultimate cheat sheet. Sole proprietorships absolutely win on ease of setup, no question, but they fail completely when it comes to liability protection. If you want that limited liability, that bulletproof corporate veil, you've got to accept either the moderate setup of an LLC or the complex administration of a C Corp. There are no shortcuts here. Real protection requires a little paperwork and a lot of discipline.
So, what's the big takeaway from all this? It's that setting up a business isn't just mindlessly filling out some state forms. It's about purposely and strategically matching this legal technology to your specific business goals, your personal risk tolerance, and your long-term tax strategy. You are building the literal chassis of the vehicle that's going to drive your financial future.
Well, we've laid out the risks and we've tested the shields. Now it's totally up to you. Are you going to stay simple and totally exposed, or are you going to put in the work to build an absolute fortress? Which entity are you going to choose to build your empire? Take what you've learned today, apply it to your grand vision, and get out there and build something great. Thanks so much for hanging out with me on this explainer. See you next time.